Mic check. All right, let's get started. So this morning I was having breakfast, and sometimes I watch this these people from Redacted. They have a page, and I mean, unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like after watching this, I would never trust white people again. Not that I really trusted them that much, but I would never trust after watching this report. I would never trust any white people again. Anything they say, it's just I'll just watch it with a grain of salt and take it with a grain of salt. And it made me believe that white people are inherently evil, right? After watching this, and it's because of what they tried to do. So everybody saw what happened with Donald Trump at the White House with the South African president, who was nothing but a weak weasel, right? So after that, they do this. Let's play some of this report. I'm gonna play this report, and I want you to check this out. Where they start calling, they said Martin Luther King was a communist. They bring this white racist Nazi on, right? And you can always tell white Nazis because they always rail against communism and socialism. For these people, there's a communist and socialist behind every tree. But they never explain to you what it is, really, right? And it's always something that they don't like. Like, they didn't like Dr. King, so they called Dr. King a communist when he gave speeches and sermons against communism, right? And I'm gonna go over that. But let's just play a little bit of this. I'm gonna play some of this by these people, and I'm gonna come back.
Raising this alarm. And this comes a week after President Trump called attention to what he said was white genocide there of white farmers in South Africa, the targeted violence, murder against those farmers. The mainstream media said it was all BS, called him out on that, said it was all a fake story. Others, even in our chat room right now, saying it's a fake story, that this is all cover for what Israel is doing in Gaza. It's a fake story in South Africa, and it's all in an effort to distract you from the genocide that's taking place in Gaza. I mean, it's an interesting argument here. So Americans might have a casual understanding of what's happening in South Africa. They'll say, you know, what's happening over there doesn't affect me. But our next guest is warning people to pay attention to the genocide in South Africa because the deep state plan doesn't stop there. He should know he lived in South Africa. Free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down on this. And Alex joins us now. Alex, did I get that quote correct? We are in grave danger as a nation?
Absolutely. It's great to see you both. Thank you for having me. And what's happening in South Africa is the model. It is the template that they plan to use on us. In fact, right now it's targeting the Afrikaner. The Afrikaners call us the Amerikaners. Our histories are intimately intertwined. In fact, the Afrikaner people are the closest cousins that Americans have anywhere in the world. They came from the same places, generally held the same cultural and religious values. And, I think it's a mistake to racialize it like some in the media are trying to do. They're trying to paint Donald Trump as a racist for talking about this. I don't think it's that the communists and the globalists and the deep staters hate these people because they have lighter skin, but they have several other strikes against them, right? For one, they're mostly Christian. And as we know, Christianity is not compatible with communism, with totalitarianism, with globalism, etc. They also are farmers. They're producing food. In fact, these are some of the most productive farmers on the face of the earth that have ever lived on the face of the earth. And if you want to control people, the totalitarians have understood for a long time, control their food and control their energy. Well, what we're watching in South Africa, again, is a microcosm of what they plan for the world. And I'll
I want to stop that right there. You see, this is talk for stupid people. Like what he said is a total lie. So what he said communism is incompatible with Christianity. Well, let's unpack that. Right? He said that the white people in South Africa that colonized it are the cousins and have everything in common with the white people in America. That would be true, right? If you're talking about colonization and slavery and stealing resources and land, that's 100% true. You see? And then he says, don't racialize it. What the hell else? I mean, what the hell else is this about? You see, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, and what it is, everything else will confuse you. So he's just trying to confuse you about the truth, about what these people are doing. And then he says, communism and Christianity are incompatible. Okay, do you know the difference between communism, socialism, capitalism, etc.? And black people in the United States went into slavery under so-called, and genocide under so-called Christianity and capitalism. They genocided people, right? But he said that his Christian values is in line with genocide and land theft and colonization. This is what he's saying, right? This is what this man is saying. And he's saying that Christianity is compatible with all these kind of things, when Christianity is the opposite of that. I mean, this is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. And the fact that they platformed this man and let him spew all these lies and this misinformation and this disinformation is insane, right? And then he goes on to say, like, for instance, I got Martin Luther King picture up. He said the civil rights movement in the United States was about communism, which is a total fucking lie. I mean, these people are clearly racist Nazis, right? Clearly. I mean, let me just get right to it, right? MLK understood the threat of communism. What does this say? As America remembers Martin Luther King, a giant of the civil rights movement, his opposition to communism also bears studying. In 1953, he wrote a sermon entitled Communism's Challenge to Christianity. King argued that the struggle between the Marxist forces and the free world was one of the most important issues of our day. His words continue to ring true today. You see? And so King was against, we see from this article that Martin Luther King was against communism. You see, he was not a communist or a socialist. He was a capitalist Christian, right? Like this man claims to be. But his problem with Dr. King is not that he doesn't know that. It's that Dr. King was black and he's a racist, right? And so because you are anti-black racist, you have to try to come up with a so-called decent rebuke of black people. So you got to say, my problem with these black people ain't that they black, it's because they communists or socialists. Or and then lie and say Dr. King was a communist and a socialist. Robert Kiyosaki did the same thing from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Japanese fascist Nazi, right? Where they make up these stories and so they really can't find they don't want to come out and say, I hate niggers, right? I'm a fascist, Nazi, and I hate niggers. So they can't come out and say, just, blatantly say that in 2025. So what do? Just the same thing they did. It's the same playbook. They come out and say, well, Martin Luther King, these people are communists. The South Africans, black people who don't like what was going on, their mistreatment, are communists and socialists. That's their problem. So it's not that you're stealing their land and you invaded their country, genocide, enslaved them, subjugated them. That's not the reason. And racially abused them. Their problem is they're communists and you're a Christian. That's the problem. I mean, this is how he positioned this. Let me get back to this, man. This is insane.
Try to explain it quickly. South Africa is not a real nation, right? And that's the first thing people need to understand. There is no nation called South Africa. South Africa is a landmass. It's a region of the world that has a lot of different nations in it. The Afrikaner nation is one of those nations. It is a true nation in the truest sense. It's got a shared culture, shared language, shared history, shared religious tradition, kind of Calvinist, Reformed Christianity. And then there are other nations down there that share the same space. The Zulu nation, which many times throughout South African history has been allied with the Afrikaner nation, the Xhosa nation of Nelson Mandela, the Venda. A lot of those nations are now independent. During apartheid, they tried to give them self-government. The Venda, the Tswana in Botswana, the Swazi in Swaziland. But what they've done in South Africa is they've amalgamated all of these historically very different nations under one unitary totalitarian regime. And that's what they're now trying to do at the global level. If you listen to the former Secretary General describe the UN General Assembly as the Parliament of Humanity, if you look at the G77 plus China and the BRICS describing the UN General Assembly as an emblem of global sovereignty, it doesn't take a lot of dot connecting to realize Americans have one vote in the UN General Assembly. What will happen if 193 other governments decide they want our land, they want our farms, they want our lives, they want our guns, they want our liberties? Well, the same exact thing that's happening to the Afrikaner right now. So, folks, it's not just some isolated conflict in a faraway land. It is the template. When you listen to Barack Obama, he actually says he was inspired to get into politics by South Africa. That was his first political action. The same plan, even the same tactics that they're using right now against the Afrikaners in South Africa are going to be deployed, and in many cases already are being deployed against Americans today.
What are those tactics specifically? Can you go more in depth about that?
There's a lot of them, right? And we could probably spend 2 weeks talking about it. But one of the very obvious ones is filling the country with foreigners, right? During the apartheid government, and nobody wants to defend apartheid, obviously, but during apartheid, you had millions of black Africans immigrating into South Africa, legally and illegally, right? They were flooding into the country. A lot of them were being sent by hostile governments. If you look at what was happening with the Afrikaners, the entire world allied against them. The Soviet Union, the communist regimes in Cuba, in Angola, in Mozambique, Libya, all over the world. And then the deep state in the United States, the David Rockefellers, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Henry Kissingers of the world, all allied against this tiny little group. And what they were doing was they were flooding that country with immigrants and teaching all these immigrants that this is a racist society. It needs to be absolutely dismantled and crushed. That's what they were teaching the children in the schools. Same exact thing happening in America. Now, again, I want to emphasize this. The issue is never the issue with the communists. That's what they used to say back in the 70s. The issue is always the revolution. So they'll
This man is insane. I mean, let me stop that right there for a second. I don't even know if I'm going to play any more of this. This man is out of his fucking mind. Do you hear what he just said? He said that during apartheid in South Africa, people were being told that these white people were racist unfairly. Motherfucker. That is the definition of apartheid, sir. This man is insane. He just said that people were being told that the Afrikaners who were running, the white people that were running apartheid against the blacks in South Africa were basically being slandered. Because it was actually they had created a utopia for black people in South Africa, and they were being slandered. He like totally contradicted himself. He said, "I'm not going to defend apartheid," and then he goes on to say, "These people are being slandered, the white people, because it wasn't no apartheid against black people there." And then he tries to delegitimize black people and say, well, this wasn't really a country. This is just a bunch of black people and running around in different tribes. Right? This wasn't really anybody's country. It's just some white people hanging out here and these black people running around trying to take this miscellaneous land. I mean, this is an insane person who contradicted himself. And then he blames everything on communism. He says, well, the problem is communism. These people are communists, right? Anybody who was against apartheid was a communist. He goes on to say the same thing of people in the black people in the United States that didn't want to live under slavery and Jim Crow are communists. Really? And socialists. So if you don't want a dirty ass cracker oppressing you, you are a socialist and a communist. What kind of scumbag shit is that to say to somebody? That would be like me saying, I'm going to go round up all white people and put their ass in slavery. And if you don't like that, white man, you a communist and a socialist. That don't even make sense. Of course, the white people probably should go into slavery for what they've done. But of course they would resist. Anybody would. A fucking monkey would, right? If you oppressed a monkey, he would probably resist you. So I guess the monkey would be a communist too, right? I'm not even, you know what? I'm done. I'm fucking done, man. I was going to play some more of this, but I can't listen to any more of this. It's because it's insane and it's stupid on so many levels. But these are the people that are in charge of the world. He goes on to make cracks about Martin Luther King, calls Martin Luther King a communist and a socialist. Right? Matter of fact, I'm not going to play no more of this. I'll put the link in the description. I can't, yo. I mean, I just don't. And then, then you get the Donald Trump South Africa thing. Right? This shit is just way too fucking weird. This is at this point, living around these people, living in the world with them is so weird, man. And all I can say is bring on the asteroids, right? Bring on the asteroids. Like, you can't live in peace with them. You can't live in peace with these people, man. With people that just make up anything they want any time of the day. Right? How are you supposed to live in peace with them? Right? How are you supposed to make sense with them? How is it supposed to make sense? It doesn't make sense. When they just lie, kill, steal, lie, swindle, cutthroat. And it's all at the bottom of at the end of the day, it's nothing but racism. It's nothing but anti-black racism. Cloaked, then they cloak it in, they say they Christians. White people are not Christian. The Christianity that white people created is nothing but Nazism. It has nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing at all. How can you let somebody that committed genocide, that's committing a genocide, commits genocide against non-white people, has stolen so much land, spread this wicked, evil ideology, right? Nazi, racist ideology all over the planet, and then turn around and tell you that they are Christians? Where is this shit in the Bible? They got a track record. And they talking about they got black fatigue. You done robbed and spoiled black people. And then you find some of the people you robbed and spoiled that's fucked up and crazy and bugged out, film them, put it on TV, and then say, I got black fatigue, I'm tired of black people. You think the people in South Africa are tired of white people? Do you think the American Indians in America are tired of white people? You think black people in America are tired of white people? I'm just saying, these people got a fucking nerve to come with this bullshit and then to come put this shit on TV and on the internet about, it's nothing but lies. Nothing but easily. I took 30 seconds and proved that this man is a liar about Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement. It took 30 seconds to prove that that man is a fucking liar. That's why I'm not going to play no more of this. They not even smart. It's just I'm white and I say so and I make up lies. There's a reckoning coming for this. See, they scared in South Africa that there's a reckoning coming for them. And it is. Let's be honest, right? Let's just be honest. There's a reckoning coming for them. And you can stir up all the shit that you want. It's not going to change anything. The fact that he's doing this proves it. They have to be dealt with by God. Because these are some crooked motherfuckers that can't be made straight. Because instead of doing what he's doing, they'd be paying reparations everywhere around the world. If there was anything decent about them. I know, you're a fucking communist, right? Because you're talking about reparations. You're a socialist and a communist, I know. But the Bible in the book of Job talks about it, right? For you dirty ass crackers claiming to be Christians. Matter of fact, let's end on that. Stand by. So I'm going to read this before I go. I mean, these are people claiming to be Christians, right? These are wicked people, man. They have nothing to do with Christianity. Joel 3 from the Old Testament. For behold, in those days and that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people. They have sold my people. When was these white people? What does this have to do with white people enslaving people? Nothing. This has nothing to do with them. But they Christians. And they gave a boy for a harlot. They sold a boy for a homosexual whore. And they sold a girl for a prostitute, right? So they could have bottles of wine to drink. It goes on to say, will you render me a recompense? Right? That's talking about reparations. And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedy I will return your recompense upon your own head. You have taken my silver and my gold and carried it into your temples, my goodly and pleasant things. The children of Judah and Jerusalem have you sold unto the Greeks, the Europeans, that they might remove them from their border. What does this biblically, right, since they claim to be Christians, have to do with white people? Nothing. What does this have to do with a bunch of people enslaving people, colonizing them, and stealing their fucking land, and then calling them communists and socialists? I'm just saying. What does it have to do with that? Nothing at all. It's the opposite. These people are liars, man. There's something wrong with them. They the devil that the Bible speaks of. This is his children. You see? That's why you shouldn't mix with them. They Satan's children. I don't know how else to explain it. Why would you be doing something like this, right? Why would you be on TV, on the internet, lying on the Bible, claiming to be a Christian, talking about things that are opposite of what a Christian is, claiming to be oppressed, calling Martin Luther King a communist when he wasn't, saying the civil rights movement was about communism when it clearly wasn't, saying that you're against apartheid, but then saying if you're against apartheid, you're a communist and a socialist. You don't see that there's something wrong with these people? Man, this is sick, man. These are some sick people. I'm tired of being nice. These are some sick fuckers, man. And somebody just need to be honest. You just gotta be honest, in these last days and times, and just tell the truth about these people. I'm done, man. That's all I